This week, we will continue with the theme of spiritual consciousness, which I have dubbed the consciousness that is needed for change. Change from the current existential predicament we have placed ourselves in, which is growing more dire by the day. If our current state is one of separation from our source, spiritual consciousness may be seen as oneness with our source. When pathology is on the rise, we may separate ourselves not only from the source, but from one another. It manifests in the form of increasing fragmentation and strife. In individuals who are falling ill, we see greater disharmony, internal conflict, and suffering. In nations that are falling into pathology, and nation can, just as individuals can, we see greater internal division, polarization, civil conflict, and chaos. Indeed, the Old English word for health, means wholeness or being whole. Fragmentation, by definition, is therefore disease. Schism and loss of unity may be most pronounced in serious mental illness such as schizophrenia, which denotes a split between reason and emotion. Health, then, can be seen as the healing of varying levels of fragmentation into unity. It has been envisioned and striven for in the American national motto, E pluribus unum, which is Latin for out of many, one. The European Union has adopted the motto, in varietate concordia, which is Latin for united in diversity. India similarly uses the motto, Vividata main ekta, or Hindi for unity in diversity. And Tanzania uses the phrase, Amani umoja na uhuru, which means peace, unity, and freedom. Similarly to the Southern African or Zulu philosophy, Ubuntu, which emphasizes shared humanity. Conflict may arise in healthy individuals or societies, but diversity and differences of opinion can be dealt with as an opportunity for mutual learning, reconciliation, and eventual unity. A more expansive notion of the self, or broadening ego boundaries, makes this possible. One can imagine continued expansion of the circle of inclusion to encompass everyone in a family, a community, or a nation. When this state of health is absent, no amount of homogeneity, uniformity, or conformity will result in a consciousness of one. This is why less healthy individuals or societies generate and perceive differences in order to explain the threat and a need for violence against others for so-called self-protection. Old English for wholeness, or health, is similarly related to heilig, which means holy. Often overlooked is what immense power and vitality arise when we go from fragmentation to unity. This is probably the inner state St. Catherine of Siena meant when she described, be who God meant you to be, and you will set the world on fire. British educator Kenneth Boulding described three faces of power: threat, exchange, and integrative power. Those who subscribe to a paradigm of the world as a threatening and fragmented place will perceive a zero-sum game, where if one party can prove the other wrong, one will be right and win, while the other loses. Those who abide by the next paradigm of the world run by exchange, then trade will occur as a form of tit-for-tat negotiations, anticipating equal exchange. However, the third integrative group learns that by sharing, they gain far more than what was expected, and discovers that the whole is far greater than the sum of its parts. When I was teaching at Yale College, I began my course with the phrase, "We live in a violent world of our own making." I said this not to be morose, but so that the students could recognize that the state of the world is unnecessary if not insane, and that we must envision a different way. Reconciliation and unity thus arise from the bottom up when we come to this recognition. An evolved consciousness unleashes a capacity that we may not fully comprehend at first. Human history has only seen glimpses of an immensely generative force that is the very fuel of life-affirming change. As in the phrase, "United we stand, divided we fall," Latin America has devised a similar phrase, "Un pueblo unido jamás será vencido," or "the people united will never be defeated." To reach this state of oneness is to reach ultimate spiritual attainment as well as psychological health. It is a state that must be directly experienced to be known. But when it is fully and firmly established that we are one with all humankind and all the universe, then all can become responsible for all, and infinite possibilities open. We will stop attacking and harming our own self. For one, we will each be more complete, no longer mere fragments of the whole, and we will be able to halt our unrelenting course on the death spiral. We will no longer be a slave to vengeance, since we recognize that to attack another is to attack oneself. We will let go of any insane notions that to attack another is to save oneself. And understanding that another's safety is our own, we will heal simultaneously as they are healed. This way of thinking, of course, is a quantum leap from our present one. It is a true solution to everything, but it takes no time, only recognition. Once we are free of the delusion that we can attack others and escape ourselves, then suddenly the reason for wars, conflict, and conquest disappears. True power and possibilities are unleashed, for once we embrace our true power, the illusion of power over others falls apart. And we will see that, being one, any change that occurs in any part of ourself affects the entire globe. There's no longer any reason to hoard or steal, for what anyone possesses is one's own, and vice versa. And when we are whole, all will be whole. We thereby make the transition from death to life, from hopelessness to hope, and from fear to love. This is what everyone desires, but prematurely relinquishes because of the belief that one cannot have it. Yet it is the easiest thing to have, as it is our natural state. Misery and poverty are unnatural mindsets concocted through much energy and machination, and maintained with elaborate systems of self-deception and mental slavery. When we are ready to let go and to be free, so will all our existential crises melt away. And like 36 trillion cells in a body acting as one being, all 8 billion of us on Earth can act as one being, for our own well-being. We will discuss, starting next week, how we may begin practically to heal in this direction.